Hello. Welcome back. Episode 3, right? Episode 3. Yep. We are here, season 2. And look who is back.
Yeah.
Oh,
The healing crystal. Yay.
So I hope you're ready for the best episode that we've ever done, probably.
Yeah. All the energies.
Yeah, already I feel like my chakras have aligned.
Oh.
And
They were looking out of whack the last few weeks.
there's some good vibes happening here in the room.
Speaking of, Brett, you are first up, my man. What do you got?
You gonna introduce us first?
No, everybody knows who we are
To
by
be honest,
now.
I feel like everyone listening's a pretty dedicated fan, so they know that there's...
I feel like I need to say hello to the listener personally.
The listener, singular.
The listener and the several thousand viewers.
I was going to say, hello, Sean's mum. All right, cool. Now that we're over with
She's a
that,
dedicated listener. Before we get started, though, I want to ask Luke a question.
hit me.
All right, so back to episode 1 of this season, we had a bit of a debate about music, rock music specifically, and where it sits in the mainstream. And we had a bit of a debate about how old the crowd at the Red Hot Chili Peppers would be.
We did.
That concert was 2 nights ago now. Luke, can you give us a bit of insight on how the concert was?
I can indeed. Well, from my observations, it was completely all over the place, all over the shop. There was people in their teens, their 20s, their 30s, 40s. It was too close to call. I don't know what the median age would have been there. I will say, though, I was on the floor, as in like on the standing area. And I reckon I would have seen more younger people there because the older people would have been up in the seats.
The seats, yeah.
So,
Taking their hips.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, those
'Cause
things aren't cheap.
those Red Hot Chili Pepper mosh pits can get pretty hectic. So yeah, I don't know. It's just too close to call. There was way too many. The age difference there was way too big to call.
But you were surprised that there was more young people than you thought, right? You said the average age was going to be like 40.
Yeah, I will say that. I was surprised.
How was it in general?
Great, yeah. Oh man, they're such a tight band, and they're so like. Flea looks like a bloody grandpa, but he can bloody shred on that bass so hard, and it was a pleasure to see them. And it was a great concert. Got my money's worth, definitely. Saw some great performances.
Yeah, I heard from like all the people that I spoke to about it, they said that they just looked like they were having the best time on stage. Like everyone said only positive reviews about the show.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic.
How old are they, out of curiosity? Any ideas? They'd be in their 50s.
Yeah, mid-50s now, I reckon.
Damn.
Not the guitarist, though. I think he's a bit younger than the rest. But yeah.
Yeah, and Will Ferrell on the drums.
Yeah, right.
All right, shall we switch to you, Brett?
Let's kick it off. Alrighty, so we've got I guess it's kind of fitting that we've got the healing crystal tonight because I feel like something that is maybe held in the same regard as healing crystals is horoscopes or star signs or zodiac signs, whatever you want to call it. So I actually did. Oh, okay. The chakras are really in my sort of section
In your
tonight.
possession.
Yeah, cool. All right.
We'll bring you good energy
Yeah,
for this
all right.
topic.
Energies are high. So I did a little bit of research because I don't know about you guys, but I actually didn't know too much about where it all came from.
Have you ever followed your horoscope?
Oh, like back in the day when we used to get the newspaper, I would maybe occasionally read mine, but
Yeah.
not with any sort of intent to follow it or see, take what it said into regard.
Just like for a bit of fun.
Yeah, shits and giggles.
Like doing a lot scratchy.
Yeah, pretty much. Although I do love a good scratchy.
Yeah.
Never win, but
Never.
like it's that one thing that your grandma always sends you for like your birthday or Christmas.
Yeah.
You always hope, like, oh, this time might be the time. 10,000, 10,000, 10, 1. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, instant disappointment.
Yeah.
So anyway, I looked it up. So it goes back to like the Babylonians. Now, not really sure where they're actually from in the world.
From Babylon.
From
Like Iraq, basically.
Yeah, right. Okay, like the Middle East.
Modern era. Yeah.
Yeah.
Iran,
So the
Iraq.
Babylonians, such a cool word, they were the first people to sort of get into constellations and astrology and all that jazz. And
So it wasn't the Aztecs.
No, so they described sort of the 12 signs of the zodiac, right? And then the Egyptians sort of followed and sort of stole, I guess, a little bit from the Babylonians.
Right.
But then it was the Greeks who took what the Babylonians and the Egyptians had, say, created or sort of established, and then made it what it is today in terms of like horoscopes and how we look at it all, and like we'll say follow it. Heavy emphasis on this. So yeah, really cool. So the word astrology or science of astrology is actually derived from a Greek word. I'm probably going to butcher this, but asteri or astari, which is just the Greek word for star. And yeah, so they were known for, obviously, the Greeks were known for their logical way of thinking and skeptical about astrology. And that's why, and like wondered about many things. And so they put like animals and cosmic powers and all that jazz together. So what do you guys personally think of horoscopes before we get into a little bit further?
Well, as the scientific skeptic amongst us,
You still don't believe in flat Earth?
I don't believe in flat Earth. Don't believe in
One of these
Leonardo.
days, man, he's going to come around.
Don't believe in Queen Elizabeth being a lizard.
Queen Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Yeah. Basically, yeah. So I took a sort of fun interest in astrology, as anyone would do when they're growing up. You read your horoscope, you sort of go about your day, you forget about it. It doesn't really mean anything to me. That being said, I've got my my zodiac sign tattooed on me. I'll try to get it in shot.
I'm just going to get out of the way here.
Just hard flex.
What one is that?
That terrible shot, which you couldn't really see, was basically a Taurus. And I'll try to stand up.
Yeah, come on.
Get the guns out. There it is.
And flex. Oh, there we go. There's the tricep.
That was real unintentional.
It's in such a weird
Flex there.
position. So I'm looking at the camera and it's like, you
Flex.
can't get it in the screen, but whatever. It's got the bull ring and the two horns. It's a Taurus.
So Sean's a Taurus.
I'm a Taurus. I do not follow it. I've got no idea. All I know is that the Taurus constellation and all the other constellations have moved relative to Earth. So the Taurus constellation is no longer where it used to be. None of them are. They've all shifted back, I think. So it's just essentially we're talking old school, like
So-
well out of date.
Speaking, well, we'll go to you first, Sean, because I was going to get to this. So,
Okay.
Do you know much about being a Taurus?
I know nothing. I couldn't tell you one trait apart from being stubborn. I've heard.
So that is one of them. So, I had a look at a couple of sites and stuff today to find out. Well, not today, the last few days, to I guess compare what some of the horoscopes, because obviously it's a bit touch and go depending on where you read.
Are these guys going to assess whether I am those traits?
They are.
Yes.
So,
Okay. Yeah. I'm
so
keen,
we're
I'm
going to see.
keen.
We're going to do each of us. So, Taurus's strengths are romantic, decisive, logical, diligent, ardent, patient, talented in art. Okay, perseverant and benevolent. Okay, and so his weaknesses are prejudice, dependent, and stubborn. All right, I'm gonna jump in before these two boys. Stubborn, you are 100% a Taurus on that regard.
Yeah, but who isn't stubborn?
How dare
A lot of
No.
people.
I'm standing by that now.
And that's the whole thing with horoscopes, is that they can be a bit broad like
Generic.
that. You know?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Reading some of the things I've read over the last few days, it's very vague.
Yeah.
That's why I find, I guess, people who take it seriously quite interesting, because I think you kind of put your own sort of spin on what you want to read.
So it's so vague. Like good at what was it? The art one, artistically
So talented in art.
talented art. That's so like I'm no good at drawing or any like physical art, but I'm good at like writing, for example.
Yeah,
so it's so
and
vague.
music-wise, I'd
music.
say.
Isn't that a little bit like of a paradox there? That because a lot of people who are good at art aren't necessarily logical. They're two sort of separate parts of the brain.
That's what they say.
Yeah,
Left brain versus
Maybe
right
he's
brain.
a glitch in the matrix.
Maybe
Maybe all brain.
So they're so good at everything that like apart from being stubborn, dependent, and whatever the other one was.
clearly not humble. That's not one of your strengths.
Would you say that
I'm not a
you're
weakness either.
Would you say that you're a romantic kind of guy, Sean?
I'd say so, but I wouldn't put that down to my star sign. I'd say it's more
I'd
down to
say
being
it's definitely
Italian.
star sign
Yeah,
related.
Star sign. Yes, I was
100%
born.
star sign.
Yeah,
And
okay.
stubbornness is an Italian thing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But, like Sean, looking at yours, I'd say you're pretty decisive, pretty logical, diligent, patient. What do you reckon?
Depends. So, like in traffic, very impatient.
Oh, that's everyone though. Like I've said some pretty
Not if you're a
crazy
Gemini.
profanity. All right, fair call, play on.
Well, what do we got?
Yeah,
Perseverant. That's not even a word. Perseverant.
It is in the star sign world.
Logical. There it is. It's coming
Benevolent.
out.
What's benevolent mean?
Well-meaning.
Well-meaning. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
You're
I mean,
you're
well.
a good egg.
Good egg. All right.
Alrighty. So would we say that that's more or less Sean in a nutshell?
yeah.
Yeah?
Somewhat.
70.
I'd say it's
75%.
more right than wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Alrighty. Luke, you're a Capricorn. I do know that.
I'm the goat.
He's the goat.
There you are.
I'm really glad we got
that
that
was
in.
nice.
when are you getting a goat tattoo on you, Luke?
I don't think I want to. Really?
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I'm not too serious about star signs, so, and I'm sure your Taurus tattoo is really nice. It looks nice.
No one asked me why I even got it. Which
It
is
looks like a
surprising.
tribal tattoo, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't think
to
I
the,
can
to
do
the
the-
simple-minded. It does. Capricorn, simple-minded.
So before we get into Luke, though, since you brought it up, yeah, stubborn bastard. Why did you get the tattoo, Sean?
Honestly, like, I'm not the sort of person that thinks tattoos need to have like a deep meaning. So I just got something that represented me. And as I said, I'm not really like an astrologically minded person. It's just something that I am defined by.
So are you saying artistic?
Well, it could be. It could be.
Logical.
Ah, yes.
All right, moving on.
Stubborn.
You drove to get there, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think a Capricorn tattoo or a tattoo of a goat would have the same effect as something cool like a bull's horn.
You never know.
You should just get like a
ram's
corn.
one.
You should just get like a corn on the cob.
Yeah.
In a Holden Capri.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
Corn on the cob.
All right, what am I?
All right, so Capricorn strengths.
Yeah.
All right, you're excellent.
Yeah, you're all right.
I love how that's like it's not even in alphabetical order. So that is just your number one trait.
You're just excellent.
If
Excellent.
you're intelligent,
That was very good.
that was pretty good.
Thank you.
So you're excellent,
Yeah.
intelligent, practical, reliable, perseverant. Again, generous, optimistic, cute, and persistent.
You're cute as fuck.
Hell yeah. And what was the last one, sorry?
Persistent.
Yeah.
Again?
Look, I wouldn't say that's exactly what defines me. I feel like I have more relatable traits than that. But yeah, I guess
Well,
so.
for me, the one that jumps out is reliable. You're
Yeah.
one of the most reliable people I know. So that definitely like
What about weaknesses?
So good point. His weaknesses were stubborn.
But is that one of Sean's strengths? Or is that one
that's
of,
weakness. That's
Weakness.
a general
So,
weakness.
yeah,
I don't think
everybody-
stubbornness is ever a strength.
Yeah.
right?
Don't lump me in with you, mate.
Yeah. I fucking dare you.
Mate,
Yeah.
do not try change my opinion.
So, weaknesses is stubborn, lonely, and suspicious.
Lonely and suspicious.
Suspicious.
So basically, you've got like mad anxiety.
That is not
Lonely
you
and
at all.
Look, I mean, it's 2019. Who doesn't?
You are one of the most social people I know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I am social because I like hanging out with people, and I don't think I would like to be lonely. I don't think anyone would like to be lonely. I mean,
And-
some people might.
And
like
you're
it.
social because, well, one of the reasons you're social is you're generous and you're optimistic
and reliable
and cute.
Yeah.
and cute
And
yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
I've heard though that Capricorns are more centered around their work. That's just something I've heard through
Apparently not.
the girls I follow on Instagram.
Do you know what your what star sign your partner is?
She's a Sagittarius.
Well, she's not a best match for you, mate. So
Damn.
apparently a best match for you is a Virgo, a Taurus, and a Pisces.
Right, baby.
Sean, come back to me.
Yeah. All right, what's your lucky number, Luke?
Yeah.
11.
Apparently, it's not.
It's not number 4, supposedly.
I like 4. 4's cool.
What's the
Dom
Taurus?
Sheed.
What's the Taurus lucky number?
Taurus's lucky number is 6.
Yeah, it is. lucky color is pink. All right.
All right, let's hear Brady.
All right, Brady, you're an Aries, am I right?
Here we go.
Yeah, so that's the Ram for those playing at home.
At a glance, there's a lot of strengths and a lot more weaknesses as well than
Yeah.
the last two.
Let's just replace it with Brady on top.
Lucky,
Alright,
lucky
so-
number is 5, by the way.
So, strengths for Brady: hopeful, active, energetic, honest, versatile, brave, adventurous, passionate, generous, cheerful, argumentative,
That's a strength, by the way.
Fuck off. Yeah, it is.
curious, and yeah, curious is your last. And your weaknesses are impulsive, naive, self-willed, belligerent, and impatient.
I am definitely belligerent. I am not naive, I don't think. I'm pretty skeptical of
How
most things.
naive.
You're very
of you.
skeptical.
How
Yeah.
naive.
I mean, I know I'm a flat earther and I'm kidding.
Yeah, but you are hopeful, so that's one of your strengths.
Yeah, I just feel like so many of those could apply to almost any of us.
Active, energetic.
You're definitely argumentative.
Yeah, for sure.
We're looking at you in isolation here, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's pretty good summary.
A funny one in there was the lucky number, 5. That's actually the number that everyone in my family uses for sport.
Hey.
Including yourself?
No.
All right.
I use 4. Yeah, so I'm more of a Capricorn.
Yeah, you should have been a Capricorn.
There you go.
All right. Do you know what your partner is, star sign wise?
I think Pisces.
When's her birthday?
Feb 1.
Let's have a squiz. See if you match up.
Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Aquarius. This is the dawning.
This is where you find out whether she's the one for you.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
not. Look, she's not the one.
This is
If
it.
you are the one.
Live
Get her on the
air.
phone. Yeah.
If you are the one, I'm just going.
Alrighty. We'll do Mike. You are. I have this. Hold on, I have it written down.
He's a Virgo.
He's a Virgo.
Like a Virgo.
Doing star signs for the very first. Alrighty. So strengths: helping, elegant, perfectionist,
Helping. Number one, though.
modest, practical, and clear-headed.
Yeah, I'd say that's
Alrighty.
yeah,
I think
good.
that's very T. Definitely.
nail on the head.
What do you reckon, T?
Yeah, nah, definitely. I've been told I'm a perfectionist before, and I think I am a little bit too. But it's very particular. When I really want to achieve something, I will go. I will get every single detail.
Your balls to the wall.
Thorough.
It sounds like you're being very picky, Mike. Do you think that's a weakness of yours, being picky?
100%.
Okay, because it's your main weakness, according to
Yeah.
this.
I'd say that's very,
So yeah,
very true.
on that, your weaknesses are picky, nosy, tortuous,
Excellent.
Tortuous, yeah.
and confining.
Confining.
And what's your lucky number?
3 or 9.
So it's 7. So scrap
wrong.
those. Yeah,
Yeah.
scrap those.
Lucky
They're no
number
longer-
7. That's
Alrighty.
so typical.
Yeah. All right. And so me.
That was so excellent of you, Luke.
Thank you.
How cute.
Oh, and Virgo. Sorry. What's the symbol? It's the Virgin Maiden.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's kind of disappointing. I feel
Ew.
like Ram's kind of cool, and the corn on the cob in a Capri, like a Holden Capri. That's kind of cool.
I get a babe on my as my symbol. So
True.
all right.
Nothing is worse than, is it Cancer?
Yeah, but
That's the crab?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cancer's the crab.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, but do you have a lion? Okay, so I'm a Leo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So my strengths apparently are proud, charitable, reflective, loyal, and enthusiastic.
Ah. Yeah, you're pretty enthusiastic.
You're pretty reflective. That's the pasty skin, though. That's why you got a hat on, isn't it?
Oh, that was so stubborn of you. Such a tyrant.
Stop being so argumentative.
And my weaknesses are arrogance, vainglorious, indulgent, wasteful, willful, and self-complacent.
More weaknesses
Well,
than strengths.
You did wear that singlet last week.
All right. In fairness, it was fucking hot. Okay, not me in it, just the weather.
Vainglorious is one word. What the hell is that?
Oh, I did actually look this up.
Super vain.
No, it's like proud about one's.
an
Proud
actually
about
word.
being vain.
No, so it's excessively proud of oneself or one's achievements, overly vain.
Ah.
There you go.
Yeah, well, there you go. The horoscope website's told me something new.
So yeah, I guess my big thing is kind of what we touched on during this is that I feel like people read horoscopes trying to take things that are happening in their current daily life and then applying it to what they've just read from the daily horoscope. So it may not, it's obviously very vague, each horoscope, like on a daily basis, and then they just kind of apply it to whatever they want to
Well, it has to
believe
apply
in.
to so many millions of people.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can't imagine how many Leos or, Virgos or corn on the cobs there are out there. So
vainglorious of you.
so vainglorious. But I just kind of feel like it's it's a bit of a sham, or maybe it's just misplaced like optimism.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
You can say it's a sham, but imagine how many people that would give hope to in their daily lives. They might read it and be like, "Oh, today is your day," and it might just give them a boost of confidence.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I did a quick Instagram poll during the week just to see how many people were actually into it, and why. And I had sort of 4 or 5 people message me. One person actually messaged me with like a really in-depth review, and it was kind of a cool take on it. It's like she said, even though she doesn't take it as absolute truth, she kind of reads it, and obviously, it's nice and fun and playful to apply it to maybe what's going on in her life. And then on the other side of the coin is that in the astrology community, it's kind of a safe and accepting place, and so you see a lot of like people of color and women and all that are brought together through
crystals.
Well, yeah, like through the same sort of, we'll say, interests. So it's a very like safe haven to come together for the same reason. And I don't know, I thought that was an interesting point because I've never really considered that as why someone might be into something like horoscopes.
Yeah, I've never considered something like that as well. Community is great, It's the same thing as like why people get into sports teams and stuff like that. Because there's a community that share a similar passion about something.
Yeah. So
Speaking of community, that is a great segue into
Ah.
gentrification.
here we go. Yeah, pass the crystal over.
Pass the parcel.
Let's get those
I'm gonna
energies
unwrap
going.
it, and it's still a crystal. All right.
It's not a flat Earth though.
So gentrification.
Not
so,
the sort of crystal you're used to, is it?
Billy Crystal. That's what I'm into. So I'm just a quick summary of what gentrification is. It's a process of renovating or improving a house or a district so that it conforms to middle class tastes. So basically, knocking down old shitty neighborhoods and making them nice by middle class standards. So I mean, I have a question to open it up. So in a country with the third largest middle class in the world. Australia has the third largest middle class in the world.
Do you have a definition of middle class?
I assume that's a good thing, though, right?
Income or
Yeah, I think it was median income or something.
Okay.
Yeah, 66% of Australia is technically middle class. We have 2018 now. 4 years ago, we were number one.
it's 2019.
It's 19, sure. 5 years ago, we were number one, and now we are behind Switzerland and New Zealand. As you know, they have better middle classes or more middle class. So, in a country with the third largest middle class, have you noticed gentrification or I'm going to use Perth as an example. Have you noticed gentrification? Have you noticed shitty old neighborhoods or, less than middle class neighborhoods being knocked down and turned into middle class neighborhoods?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of dodgy suburbs around Perth that have been trying to transform into something a bit more hospitable for another generation of people. There's a suburb here called Nollamara.
I was just about to bring them up. That was my example.
Nollamara, maybe like Girraween, something around there.
How many A's are in Nollamara? Jeez. Nollamara. You kept going.
Yeah, there's quite a few A's.
Yeah.
But Nollamara used to be a bit of a dodgy suburb and middle to low class. It was a low socioeconomic area. But we have friends that live there in Nollamara now, and they actually own really nice houses. And that's just another example of a new generation moving in to try and push out a previous thought about the area or a previous class about the area.
A great example was what Sean said before the show. Was we have a suburb called Balga that was renamed Westminster, which is possibly the most middle class or even upper class name that there is. So it's renamed that, and it's been redeveloped into trying to be a more middle class sort of area. But it was technically, or not technically, but historically, it was a lower income, lower class. Area.
Lots of state housing.
Yeah. So yeah, Brett, have you noticed? You live in Mount Lawley, sort of ish area.
Yeah.
Have you noticed it in that area? It's a pretty.
It's weird. I don't know. I feel like the split in the suburb I live in is kind of like I live in the middle class area, but there's definitely you could go one street over and it'd be, I don't know, upper class isn't the right word, but there's obviously like a wealthier sort of demographic. I don't know. I feel like there's a big. Mount Lawley's a weird example because there's a really big emphasis on keeping that vintage nature about a new area. If that makes sense.
It almost has its own identity, which gentrification, a lot of people say, removes identity.
Yeah, and that's actually protected by local councils as well. They will take a character of a specific street, that can mean the way the houses are shaped, or even a specific
bricks.
Material the house was built with, and they protect that character so you can only build to a similar mold that the rest of the houses on that street are built to. So that means if you wanted to build your 2-story mansion on a street full of single dwelling houses, you can't do it because it's protected by that street is protected by character.
Really? I didn't know that. That's crazy.
That's cool. I've got a cool example as well. Well, I guess not a cool example. So the suburb that myself and Luke used to live in, Dianella, started absorbing other suburbs which were much lower class. So I guess that can be classified as a different version of gentrification because what it's doing is it's lowering the crime rate of the bad suburbs and increasing the crime rate of the middle class suburbs, so it sort of balances out towards the mean. So I don't know how you'd class that, but it's a form of gentrification just by shifting the borders of the bourgeois suburb, I guess. Very
good use of the word bourgeois.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like how they've gone from keeping the crime to one small suburb to now spreading it out over a number of suburbs.
Make Perth one gigantic suburb.
Per suburb, there's less crime.
Yeah.
But people see the name and they see Dianella rather than
Morley.
Yeah. and they would,
Mirrabooka.
yeah, and they just prefer it like because that's on your address, man. That's
It's all the
what-
connotations of what each suburb
Yeah.
means.
I
like-
have a great example of that. At work, somebody basically, their work is in one suburb, which is a less desirable suburb. They asked if they could pay another company in the CBD purely to use their address as their own address. So they would pay them a weekly, monthly fee to have mail or whatever sent there, so that when they told international clientele where they were located, it would look more impressive, or even to local people, it would look more impressive that we were in the CBD, we're not in this little suburb.
That's way more impressive.
Yeah.
And on that, there's major companies that used to do that. So the TV networks used to do that until they shifted suburb. So the old address of Channel 7, which is probably the biggest channel in Australia, I guess, the address for that it was physically located on a street called Gay Street, Gay, Gay Street. And this was probably like, if you would ask someone, it would probably be considered offensive. They would say that their address was off Gay Street. Like they wouldn't actually use Gay Street as their address. It would say Channel 7, blah, 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 off Gay Street. Oh, no. They'd say off Dinella Drive. It wouldn't say Gay Street was their address. It'd say off Dinella
just
Drive.
so they didn't have gay in the
Yeah, they just didn't want the word gay in their address for some reason. So off Dinella Drive is what they'd say.
Boycott Channel 7 is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, now they've developed a suburb there called Seven Hills.
Really?
Yeah, they've put a development. They must own the land.
Yeah, it's cool.
Cool. So I've got a couple of pros and cons, which we've established a little bit. A couple of pros, though, for gentrification. It does apparently make the streets safer. So as you were saying, Dinella engulfing other neighborhoods kind of balances the crime rates out. But when the actual work is done and these neighborhoods are redeveloped, they are then generally afterwards safer. That's what stats say.
That makes sense.
People that aren't in low socioeconomic situations are moving in. So in turn, you get like a better status of the area.
Yeah.
a middle class type of person's now
Yeah.
occupying.
Well, you remove shifty, dark alleyways and put in a shopping centre, where there's more light and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go pro con. A con, apparently modern gentrification, because there's 20th century gentrification, which was sort of on the back of the Industrial Revolution and all that sort of thing. So that's more bringing everything up to a standard. Now, modern gentrification is more about government and large corporations, and they're more backed by those in aims to actually sanitize these areas and remove actual culture from these areas. That one is more specific to places like New York, where there's a huge backlash in certain areas because of the amount of infill and gentrification in these areas.
Well, I mean, the example that screams to me is from How I Met Your Mother, where they were going to knock down the old theater or whatever it was.
That hotel.
Arcadian.
The Arcadian?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah.
Actually,
Statman coming through.
Statman with the How I Met Your Mother.
He didn't need to
Part-time,
research
yeah.
that one. He just knew it. Like,
Yeah,
Memory
big
man.
How I Met Your Mother fan.
Memory foam Mike.
Yeah, so I mean, just drawing a heritage building to put in a fancy new steel, skyscraper is, I guess, destroying the culture of the area.
Yeah, and it definitely sanitizes everything to the point where, in these areas, everything looks the same. You go from one neighborhood to the next, and what is the point of going from one neighborhood to the next when the exact same offerings are there? I love, maybe not so much in Perth, because I think the standard is relatively similar in a lot of places. But when you go to these big metropolitan cities like London and New York, you can vividly see the difference between suburbs. And that's why you go to them. You go to see things that are different. So,
Another point with that is when you push these lower class people out of a suburb, where do they go?
that's
they just
my next point. Well done.
Oh, take it away, Brady.
No, you've hit the nail on the head.
Oh, right.
It basically it pushes people out who have potentially lived there for generations.
Yeah.
So where do they go? They set up shop like 50 kilometers down the road now.
Yeah, that's the thing. They just go to another suburb where they'll probably start to do the exact same thing.
It pushes it pushes the problem away without addressing the actual issue.
Yeah.
So yeah. Another pro for it, however, is it increases business and economy in these areas. So maybe an area that was previously lower class and didn't have a lot going on now has a huge cash inflow, a lot more people, a lot more even tourism and things like that. So, depending on which way you look at it, that can be a good thing.
There was something I was reading too in Chicago. I'm not sure if it's the north or the south side of Chicago. I can't quite remember. But one of the sides was having a big problem with like lower class people, and it was maybe like African American culture was there to sort of bring it back to a better like class of like the area. So they started injecting like museums, like African American museums that celebrate that sort of culture. And then from there, it was more of a celebration of the people that lived there, rather than just pushing the people out. They sort of started to.
So it's modernizing it whilst keeping that culture.
Yeah,
It took
that's
what
right.
made the neighborhood it,
Yeah.
and then like put it on a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly. So people had something to do.
That seems like a good sort of structure to follow, I think. Celebrating what was there whilst then bringing these places into maybe a more modern sort of time.
Yeah.
Giving them economy boosts. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And especially when you're injecting, businesses like museums that can get more growth to the economy, then yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think if people are doing gentrification in areas, that they should take that as a good example.
One example that I have, I always bring it back to places like Amsterdam, because I have noticed more when I was living in these places, more of a shift than I have ever seen in Perth. Because for me, on average, Perth, no matter where you go, other than a couple of suburbs, can be quite samey.
But I would say that about Amsterdam as well. Like
You'd think so. It looks the same.
it does. That's so yeah. On like from an aesthetic point of view,
Yeah.
I mean, you walk around there, you've had a few too many beers, and you're definitely stumbling home into the wrong house.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? You walk along the canals, and almost every
They
house
all
looks
look
the same.
But that is heavily central Amsterdam.
Of
Soon-
course, you get outside into the countryside and stuff.
Oh, not even. You go 5 minutes east. Get on a bike, go 5 minutes east, and then see if you come back, kind of thing. It's
See if you come back.
yeah. I used to live in the east in this building, and across the road from me was a cafe. In that cafe was one of the most famous murders in Amsterdam. There was basically people were just having coffees and that. Someone walked in and just shot a couple of people in the head and walked off.
Wow.
That was on the street that I lived in. Across the road from that, there was like a little, not like a park, but kind of like a play area where people just hang out. That was infamous for, I think, about like 17 people getting stabbed or something. Like it was, and that's 5-10 minute bike ride out of central Amsterdam. And it looks, if you were to go there, it would look like any other part of the city, granted, because that comes back to appreciating cultural heritage, like you said.
Yeah.
If you're rebuilding buildings in Amsterdam, you have to use the exact same bricks
Yeah, absolutely.
to keep the aesthetic, to keep the culture and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's why you can't tell a difference. But one of the issues I see is when you get people who are being pushed out of the areas that they are or have potentially lived in with all their families and things like that for so long, I reckon that can cause a bit of an identity sort of either crisis, or it can make people feel a little bit removed from the city that they're in and kind of have that us versus them mentality. The new people moving in are them, and they are pushing us out of our homes, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like it can create a bit of
A civil war.
a little bit.
Well, it's kind of like in Perth, how you have like that north versus south mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, no one really takes it all that serious, but it still is joked around. Like even
It divides people.
so,
Yeah.
like obviously my work is south, right? And I cop a lot of shit from my clients because they're like, "Oh, Brett, you live north of the river." They're joking, like it's obviously all in good nature. And so, like, come middle of the year, like I'm going to be moving south of the river, and they're like, "Oh, Brett, we don't want you here now. You don't want any of that north coming."
Property prices will drop.
Yeah, like obviously joking, but it's weird how there's that rivalry and like definitely that I don't know, you have a certain attachment to where you grew up, and then if you move, you definitely feel obviously you're out of home, but you definitely feel like far away from where your roots are.
Yeah. Quick question. I'm gonna go straight to Sean with this one. Being a white middle class male, I just assumed a lot of that. I assumed
you have.
your class and your gender.
I'm offended.
Deal with it. Would you ever live in a predominantly
And my race.
Would you ever live in a predominantly non-white or lower socioeconomic neighborhood?
Well, that is something we don't really experience in Perth. But okay, the short answer is no. Not because of the non-white aspect, but the low socioeconomic aspect. So, I grew up living right next to Mirrabooka, which is exactly what you've described. Low socioeconomic, I'd go as far as saying non-white. And I had no issues. But the crime rate is higher, and it's a bit dodgy. But that's again because you got.
And that's growing up there.
I grew up there. I got into a fight there and stuff like that I didn't start, which was mentioned previously on here.
Yeah.
But no, the answer is no, and that's mainly for financial reasons.
But that's also because you can afford to. If you maybe say, for example, you were traveling and you couldn't afford to live in a nice neighborhood, would you rather not live in this city and not live in this neighborhood, or just give up kind of thing?
I personally would look for alternatives. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Like a share house somewhere else in a better area.
Because it's where you live. You want it to be as perfect as you can make it,
You want it to be safe.
Yeah.
But say you're working whatever job, you're making minimum wage, you don't have a choice, really. I mean, that kind of negates the question, but you don't have really a choice. You can pick from a certain few suburbs. How are you going to feel living in one of these places?
Yeah. But that's just like housing, and housing isn't affordable, and I don't think it ever will be affordable in the near future.
Yeah, too much smash davo, man. We'll never be able to afford a house.
Goddamn boomers.
So I regularly go to the shopping center in that area, and it's really not that bad, but it's just like, I don't even know. I can't even put words to it. Like, I grew up right there. I shopped there all the time, but I'd still choose to not live there.
Was prejudice one of your weaknesses, by the way?
It was. It really was, unfortunately. Yeah.
I heard he was pretty stubborn as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I grew up in like a different suburb to Sean, but same sort of premise.
Yeah. Actually, we kind of all did, didn't we?
Yeah, like, I don't know. My parents weren't the wealthiest people. They did okay. Yeah. But like we grew up in like, where I grew up was a lower socioeconomic suburb. But
is it still?
Yeah, it's more still than it is not.
Okay.
And I don't know. I guess if I had to, I wouldn't mind living, in that sort of suburb again, even a different suburb, but the same sort of quality, we'll say.
Because one of the, I know it seems like a bit of a kind of rigged question, but I'm only saying that because I did live in one of those neighborhoods and I felt regularly unsafe. But also there was such a sense of culture in those areas that can be a little bit, I hate to use the word, whitewashed in sort of gentrified areas. So I was going, in Amsterdam, they have a huge Turkish and Moroccan population. And in the area I was living in, that was predominantly in that area. And I would walk around and I honestly would just get talked to by random people, and they would like invite me to things, and people were genuinely pretty nice. It's just at night, when all the kids came out, that it got a bit different. But in general, the culture there was pretty amazing. But if you go to the nicer neighborhoods, you don't necessarily get that. So it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know what I mean?
I think you get that give and take in every suburb. Though. Like, I guess I currently live in like a fairly nice suburb, but I've walked around at night and felt unsafe. I took my dog for a walk last night, and I had to, but I didn't enjoy walking around at night on my own. And I know that that's a safe suburb.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of. Yeah, it's wherever you live, you're going to have moments where you feel good and you feel shit.
But it's
like
almost
when you're
like,
out.
it's almost like the people in the higher socioeconomic areas are like to up themselves to talk to anyone.
Yeah, you do get that a little bit. In higher economic classes, they tend to
be a bit snobby,
stick to themselves a little bit as well, and have less of an identity with their culture.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's a shame, but it's part of the charm of some of these areas is that they have this culture.
Yeah.
Last question. Would you say, all of you, I'm going to open up randomly to whoever wants, is gentrification potentially just a side effect of a growing middle class?
Probably. As societies develop, so does the land, the area, the areas that live there. They need to be upgraded regularly, improvements are made, in terms of design. You need to fit more people in.
Yep.
Growing populations.
That's a huge one. In Perth especially, infill is now a massive thing.
Yeah, like take Ellenbrook, for example, which is, for those listening who don't know, is obviously it'd be a suburb that'd be, I guess, almost an hour from the city.
Yeah, we'll say 45 minutes.
Yeah,
but the thing
45.
that makes Ellenbrook so bad is that public transport.
There's no train line.
Yeah, there's a bus. And that's it.
Singular bus, and then you'd have to take like another one to get even remotely close to the CBD.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like still in development. Like it's growing, but it's still like 10 years away from.
The public transport here is shocking, though. That's a whole new topic we can cover. Like,
Yeah.
But that's because Perth was built around the use of the car,
Yeah.
and they didn't expect public transport to be relevant.
They
when
didn't
were.
expect Perth to be this big.
Yeah, exactly. But coming back to your question, I think gentrification is more just a result of population growth.
I'd say so as well.
And the issues that come with population growth and having a lot of people in one area.
Very well said, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't have a good segue, unfortunately.
Well, speaking of growth, possibly in a different industry.
yeah, all right, we'll say that. Yeah, nice.
Again.
Growing plants.
Yeah, gone. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I'm going to be talking about industry plants, and no, it's not about ficuses, and it's not
Succulents?
Weed.
about no, it's
Wow.
not, and it's not about
Legalize it.
industrial plant, like a nuclear power plant or something. It's a music topic. Basically, what an industry plant is in the music industry is it's an artist who has labels backing their movement, but they present themselves as an organic presence in the entertainment world.
Is this going to be about Cardi B?
No, nothing. No, not at all about Cardi B. But just from that definition, what do you guys think of industry plants?
I can think of like a few examples
Yeah,
of people.
We'll get to
but
that.
we'll get to that.
Yeah, but I should note that there is a difference between industry plants and manufactured pop stars. So this is like your Britneys and your Justin Timberlakes and stuff.
Would you throw Australian and American Idol people into that
Yeah, so
category as well?
they're manufactured pop stars.
Cool,
They're not
just
industry
checking.
plants. We'll take Rihanna as a good example. So Rihanna, since she's started in the music industry, she's never tried to claim anything. She's never tried to change music. She always makes music that's popular. Like I remember she did that song with Calvin Harris in like 2010 or something. We found love in a heart.
Oh my god, I forgot about that song.
Yeah, and that was when
Lucky you.
Yeah.
that was when EDM was like really big, and then she even covered like a Tame Impala song like further on down the track
Yeah.
when they just came out, and now she's doing a lot of sounds with that very Latin reggaeton beat, that whole thing, a
Bring you
good
back to
example.
season 1.
Yeah, yeah. Well done.
Applause.
You can clap on the beat.
Whack.
So she's never claimed to, do anything different to music. She's always just going with the trend of music. And that's okay because people know that and people know what to expect when they hear Rihanna. She's going to kill it because she's going to stick to what's popular, what's good. So that is somewhat of a manufactured pop star. But an industry plant is different because an industry plant is someone who, you find out about them like, oh my God, there's this new artist, this new indie artist. Never heard her before, but oh my gosh, she's making this or he's making this really cool music. And then suddenly they just so much hype behind them and they just keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed when suddenly they become like right at the top of the charts. But from the get-go, you think they're an independent underground artist, but really they've had this backing from a major label all along.
Would Sia be an example?
No, because she had a music career before she got really, really popular.
Yeah, she is just like naturally talented as well.
Yeah.
What about that? What's that boy band with Harry Styles and all that?
One Direction.
That's manufactured.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was manufactured on, what's that TV show? X Factor.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, fuck X Factor, man.
yeah, terrible show. If you expect people to get popular from a TV show, I'd like to talk to you.
Although one exception to
B.
that rule that I would say, Cardi B.
Sebastian.
yeah,
sure.
Cardi B, you're right.
No, no. If we're going to talk
Yeah.
about one, it's Shannon Noel one who was robbed. But
Let's ride.
no. So one exception to the rule of those sorts of shows is like Matt Corby. I think is a good example because obviously he did quite well on it, and then he was sort of tied to that label which you're contracted to for a few years.
Yeah.
And he basically did nothing in that time.
Yeah.
And afterwards he was like fuck it, and then just actually went out and did his own work.
Yeah, and I respect Matt Corby for that as well because he hasn't tried to change or anything. He's just making music for the hell of it, and he doesn't care about chart positions or anything. He's just generally making good music.
Yeah, agreed.
So respect to him and respect for actually getting out of a major label contract like that and
and doing it big afterwards.
Absolutely. So I got 3 examples here of some industry plants. The first one is Lorde. Now, you guys know Lorde?
yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So she became popular through indie radio with the Love Club EP in 2013. I'm sure you guys know the song Royals.
Yeah.
Brady?
I mean, if I heard it, probably.
Oh, come on, mate.
You know
yeah.
I know it.
So, and when she came out, everyone was like, oh my God, this is so cool. This is like, she's such a cool singer and stuff.
How does it go? Just to give me a
And
gist.
Royals. Thank you, boys.
You're welcome.
My backing singer's here. But really,
That was so vainglorious, by the way.
Oh, you fucking nailed that. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, man.
Stubborn.
and everyone thinks she sort of did it by herself, but no. An A&R rep called Scott McLaughlin of Universal Music Group discovered her in 2008. And so this
Damn.
EP was released in 2013. She was discovered in 2008 at an Auckland school talent show. So then she signed her, Scott signed her as an artist in development. So they were just keeping a watch on her. She wasn't on their list or anything. She was simply in development, hence the term industry plant.
Oh, did they just put the soil in?
Hey, yeah. And what they did was they paid for her to have singing lessons and paired her up with producers. And that's a span of 5 years. And then 5 years that EP releases. And
Sounds like she's been drafted, basically.
Yeah, man. Like it's essentially just like training, but for
Yeah.
singing instead of a sport.
yeah,
That's fair enough. If they think she has the potential.
Yeah.
She just needs that nurturing.
that's right. But the fact that she had that nurturing, whereas people sort of just assume that she's done this as independently.
Is she claiming that, though?
They're not going to claim it outright.
She doesn't not claim it, like
Yeah.
that she's done it on her own. But
Okay.
But that's just the sense that everyone gives her.
Okay.
Is that she's this amazing independent artist. And she actually popularized that whole indie electronica sound, very minimalistic. Like, think at the time you had like Foster the People. They were like that whole indie electronic sort of thing. And she just took it to the next level and just made it like, 1 minute I heard her on Triple J and then the next she's fucking playing on Ellen.
yeah,
And that just shows how big she got so quickly, but because she had a major label backing her. Next example is Billie Eilish. Now, I'm sure you blokes haven't, Sean and Brady, you guys haven't heard of Billie Eilish, have you?
Billy Crystal, but
Okay.
No idea.
Brett, do you know who Billie Eilish is?
I know who Billie Eilish is.
T, do you know who Billie Eilish is?
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, basically, she just sold out a world tour.
it's a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just turned 17.
She just turned
Like December,
17,
I think.
And she sold out a world tour.
What?
So you can't think of how popular she is right now. And she always pops up in my Explore tab on Instagram.
It's called digital marketing.
Yeah, that's it.
You can see her in a crown.
That's one of their songs.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. I was like,
Well,
should I be getting this joke?
yeah. Sorry.
Really subtle, or am I just stupid?
so
Both. check the horoscopes, mate.
hey,
Vainglorious.
she's from LA, and her family is full of actors and musicians. Immediately, you can sort of assume that they have connections and they can get her places. She put out this song called Ocean Eyes onto SoundCloud, and this is a song that was written by her brother, Phineas, who is her producer. And Phineas originally wrote this song for his band, but thought it would be good for Billie to do. And it blew up, and she got signed to Interscope Records, which is one of the biggest major label
Oh, God,
records
yeah, huge
in
label.
America. And all because she posted just one song on SoundCloud. Like, you can't think that was done organically. Like, how can anyone think that was done organically? Like, sure, she might have gotten some views just through word of mouth, but surely she would have had someone behind the scenes absolutely pushing her and just networking for her.
It's called branding, digital marketing.
Yeah.
There's so many elements to things like that.
That's right. And here's another issue with this whole industry plant thing is that when that song Ocean Eyes got popular, she was 14. And Billie Eilish is very vocal about her mental health issues. She always mentions how she's met so many people in the music industry who are depressed and just don't like being there, but that's just what they do. And I can't imagine someone wanting to put a 14-year-old into a position where, they're working constantly and they they're just always under the pump by stuff and having to get tracks made. And
What about Justin Bieber?
let's not get started on that.
Yeah, man, he's a lost cause.
But
No, but he started pretty young, but was his organic?
Manufactured, wasn't it? Or was it counted as being put? Wasn't like Elton John his mentor or something?
he was originally on YouTube. I didn't research too much into Justin Bieber.
He had the
And-
backing of like Elton John or something.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
he signed to Usher's record label.
So that could be a good example then, because it wasn't manufactured. It was
Yeah.
just backed by big. I'm still trying to get my head around what industry plan actually.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
It's like a flag.
I think I've got it. Yeah, yeah,
Basically, they're backed by a major label.
yeah. I get that.
Yeah, but everyone thinks they're independent and they just worked on this all by themselves
yeah,
with
yeah.
their own skills.
Yeah,
but really,
yeah.
it was the label that got them there, and the label pretends that they were independent.
Yeah, see, look, like, I guess to further
Michael
explain,
Fox.
is I look at Justin Bieber and, you know, I don't rate him because, you know, he's been manufactured. Whereas, like, I like Billie Eilish because she came out of nowhere and gave her the perception that she's done all the hard work herself.
Yeah. Can you see, Sean, why people would have a problem with this?
Definitely.
Why?
Because the way Brett just said it
Yeah.
made it seem like she did all the hard work, but in reality, she did nothing. She
Yeah.
was just the face to
I mean,
it.
she did all the singing and, like, you know, her brother did all the beats.
And I'm not taking that away from them either.
Absolutely, because, like, they are, you know, she is quite talented. Like,
Yeah,
and
nepotism will get you very far.
Yeah. It does sound like the Cardi B one to bring it back to again, to season 1, yeah.
A little.
Season 1,
but,
episode 3.
I mean, as often as we can
Wow,
reference
nice.
Cardi B, we
the
do.
Cardi B machine.
but people would feel a bit cheated on because they thought they were backing someone that was, you know, underground and doing this. And like, this is mostly for hipsters. Hipsters feel cheated on because,
yeah.
They, you know, they thought this was,
Indie cred.
yeah, indie cred. But really, it was a major label backing them the whole time. I'm going to finish with this last example. And this one actually sort of pisses me off a bit. Have you guys heard of an artist called G Flip?
I have heard
Yeah.
of G Flip.
Yeah.
Even-
Sorry, Brady?
Nope.
No? Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, she's Australian, and basically before 2019, she had released 2 songs, and she has played sets at Splendor in the Grass, Laneway, and she's about to play a set at Reading and Leeds later this
No
year.
way.
And she's released, before 2019, released 2 songs. Now she has 4 songs.
Yeah, right.
And she's playing major festivals.
I mean, what's she going to do with the other half of her set list?
Yeah, just like jazz jam. But, you know, and the way she came to popularity was she just popped up on Triple J Unearthed, which is a discovery platform for a lot of unknown artists here in Australia.
Are they unknown? Now I'm questioning Triple J Unearthed.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, Triple J just fell in love and they did a little mini documentary about how she makes music and stuff. And she gets constant airtime on Triple J, like daily airtime. And everyone thinks she's just been discovered by Triple J when really she is signed to Future Classic, which is probably one of the biggest.
It'd be the best dance, like it'd be the best dance label in Australia.
Yeah.
So think of where Flume is either still signed or got signed to.
Yeah, he's still signed to them.
Yeah, Flight Facilities. I'm pretty sure Hermitude.
Yeah, Wafia.
Wafia, like Taku and Howls. The list goes on. Like it's a solid label.
That's a band I've never heard of.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. But you guys don't
Fucking
listen.
hipsters.
You guys don't listen to dance music. Like in terms of dance music,
Cut copy? That's the only one I know.
Coffee.
no. But no.
G Flip? I heard G Flip's good.
All I'm saying is that
Have you guys heard of Billie Eilish? Just looking at your notes there.
all I'm saying is that she was this, you know, came from absolutely nowhere, and
Started
she
from the
has
bottom.
2 songs, and she's playing major festivals, and everyone just thinks that she just came out of nowhere.
When did the label sign her? And had she had these 2 songs when they signed her? Or did they write the songs for her? Or what's the issue here?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think the way it would have worked is that they would have maybe been in talks with her. She then probably released the song, and then they would have like talked to, you know, people, try to network her sound around, and that's then when they would have officially announced her as someone that's signed to Future Classic.
Sounds like your beef here is with Triple J.
It's
more than G.
It's not, because I love you, Triple J. It's a great radio
And no,
station.
Triple J just do what labels tell them to play. Like
Yeah.
Triple J have an agenda. Like if you're saying that they didn't push, if they don't have an agenda when it comes to like who wins the number one every year in the hottest 100,
Yeah.
then you're lying to yourself.
They're getting paid from somewhere.
Oh,
Everybody is.
100%. Like
Or just very heavily persuaded because they are a government radio station after all.
absolutely. And like, look, you know, Ocean Alley and bands like that, they were going to win it from the beginning. Weeks before it was announced to like Triple J like to, they can push who they want to push.
Yeah.
What this says to me is that if you are a young, unknown artist, save up your money and spend it on marketing,
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Sounds about right.
and someone will notice you, and you get picked up that way, and
Yeah.
then they'll push you themselves.
Well, yeah, it's probably the best way to get out there is to have a label backing you in some way, a good label backing you in some way. I'm done talking about that, but I will just finish with saying this is the nature of the music business. This is how it operates now. It's about who you know. It's not about like how good your music is. Like G Flip, I listen to her music and it is not as good as the hype that is backing her. It's not
awful.
amazing. It's awful, T.
I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
I don't know. It's just G Flip, man. She's bad, and I don't see what separates her from any other musician. I don't see what makes her stand out.
I would agree with you, and I definitely don't think she should. I don't think she deserves this whole hype train behind her because she had 2 songs out before 2019. You got to give someone a bit more of a chance than that, in my opinion.
Well, as Pink Floyd said, Luke, welcome to the machine.
That's right, the machine. Time for some cool or not cool.
Cool or not cool? Skip it, pop it, do. That gets me going every week. All right, number 1, we're jumping straight into the deep end. Electric cars, not electronic, electric cars.
My bad.
Nah,
Yes,
it's cool or not cool.
Yes.
Not bad.
Bad or not bad?
Very
Yeah,
cool. Cool for the environment. Cool for life.
Both electric and electronic cars are cool.
Yeah, really cool. The future, man.
Yeah, electric cars are cool as fuck. Nothing more can be said about that. Number 2, hard-boiled eggs. It's a natural progression. Just go with it. Hard-boiled eggs.
Not cool. They smell like farts.
In what context?
Eating them.
Putting them in your butt. What do you
Well,
think?
you put like hard-boiled eggs in ramen and they're very cool. But if you have a hard-boiled egg, you just crack the shell off. That's not cool. That's uncool. It's uncool, kids.
You're a special kind of special, Sean.
It was so vague.
Yeah,
Such a Taurus.
hard-boiled eggs are very cool. Cut them in half, bit of cracked pepper, bit of hot sauce. That's the dream.
Yeah, hard-boiled eggs are A1.
How many hard-boiled eggs do you reckon you've eaten all at once?
Like the most in one sitting.
Yeah.
Oh, how many Weet-Bix did you do?
Yeah, how many do you do?
24.
No, I did way more eggs. No, no.
Like the industrial packs of eggs.
Oh,
That's
that makes
literally what I buy.
that makes me feel
Yeah, man.
unwell.
I eat 4 hard-boiled eggs a day.
Yeah, I've had 4 or 5 in a sitting.
That's been some trying times.
Crazy.
No, it's just a good healthy snack.
Why? What's that relating to?
Always sunny.
Always sunny.
Offering you an egg.
Offering
Right.
you an
I'm
egg
sure
at this
everyone
trying time.
like pissed themselves at that joke. 'cause
Mike did.
Everyone got it. Well,
And that's all that matters.
all right, great.
Catering to a large audience there.
4 people.
Number 3, we've got going to the movies alone.
Never done it, but
So are you cool or not cool?
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind.
That's your answer? Oh, I thought he was answering like, okay. Yeah, that's a difficult one, eh? I personally haven't
Great
done
cool
it
or
either.
not cool, by the way. Brady.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's cool. I actually respect people that go to the movies on their own. Not that I've not done it.
Really?
But I've not done it. But no, I respect people that do it. And I would do it. I just haven't done it.
Yeah, very cool. Again, haven't done it myself, but I have a lot of props. I've spoken to a lot of people who have done it. But I'm a big, wow, I fucked that up. I'm a big advocate for doing things on your own anyway. Like going and seeing bands play. I don't know, it shits me when people are like, oh, I don't really want to go see this band.
Yeah.
So I'm not going.
You have yourself, buddy. Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very cool.
When I was about 17, I used to go to movies almost weekly on my own. I've been to hundreds of movies on my own, and it was the best experience of my life. No one's annoying you. No one's talking
the
to you.
best experience
Yeah, my
of your
life
life.
peaked when I was 17 in a cinema on my own.
And it's been a slow decline ever since. Yeah.
Pretty much. It's been a rough few years. Number 4, we've got long wizard length beards.
Not cool. Not cool.
And
No.
people who are super into those beards. You know? Yeah.
Like the guys that wear them or girls that are into them? Both.
Yeah.
We're talking, yeah.
They're just too long for me. Sean?
Wizard length beards are not cool, I'm afraid.
I don't know. I really want to say it's cool. Like, I would never do it, but I see sometimes dudes that have them just like, you know what, man? Like, props to you. That's a big commitment.
Yeah, man. Talking about Mirrabooker shops before, like, you go to Mirrabooker shops, you'll see a wizard beard, a dude walking around with like sunnies on
So
indoors and stuff.
you're either Santa Claus or you're a blackie.
Basically.
Yeah. I'm gonna say cool in case blackies are watching. No, I
Gypsy
don't,
Jokers love us. Like,
I don't think they're cool. I think people are too obsessed when it gets to like that length. They just let their identity.
It's a
is
lot of
beard.
girth. Like,
Yeah.
ZZ Top level, like.
Yeah.
And ZZ Top are cool.
Yeah, they are cool, but they're not about their beards. That's the music. Manufactured. No, I'm kidding. Number 5,
Organic.
we've got Bunnings. It's a hardware store for international listeners. Is Bunnings cool or not cool?
It is so fucking cool, man. Like, honestly, you go there and, like, if you're shopping for something specific, you'll get distracted by, like, another 5 things. It's just so, they have everything.
I've never seen you so excited about a cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I love a Bunnings visit, especially when they got the sausage sizzles on.
Yeah.
That
Loves a
absolutely
snag.
makes my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Basically, just edit out what Luke said, put my face in the picture, and have everything like a still image of me, like, and then just Luke's speech and just repeat.
All right.
that's real hard to follow. Yeah, Bunnings is super cool. It's literally like adults' playground.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Bunnings. So cool from me.
Yeah, the snags as well.
Yeah.
Like,
It's got everything.
international listeners, man, like when you come to Perth or Australia, get off the plane and head to a Bunnings and get yourself a sausage sizzle. because
$2.
That's probably one of our best.
It's an Australian pastime.
Yeah.
And there is no gentrification there. That is just pure Australian culture.
They
Yeah.
tried to gentrify it
How?
with the onions.
Those bastards.
All right, let's not get into that. You know,
Yeah.
keep the bill coming.
Keep the onions for next week. Alrighty. I think we are done.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching in both the cameras there. We'll see you next week. Episode 4. Yeah, episode
Cool.
4.
Let's
Keep
do
it
it.
real.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. See you next week.